So Planet Earth 3 episode 2 is about the oceans, and this episode opens up on the coral reef, where we see lionfish, which is an animal we don't usually see. Then of course we see the lionfish being eaten by frogfish. It has like a lure, kind of like an anglerfish has, which it uses to lure the lionfish. But it was quite interesting, I hadn't seen anything like that before, so that was quite cool. And from there we move on to the kelp forests, where we see horned sharks. Now I hadn't seen horned sharks before, I didn't know what they were. And we also see another shark species which I hadn't heard or seen before, which was the angel shark, which is definitely very misnamed because it looks absolutely disgusting. Nothing angelic about that thing at all. But it's very interesting the way it burrows in the sand and catches its prey. It almost looks like a ray. But then we see it, you know, being displaced by another shark and then catching the horned shark, which is our protagonist of that sequence. And then the horned shark is actually able to escape the shark, which I was like, okay, how's it done that? And we see that it actually has spikes on its back, which obviously just must be uncomfortable for the angel shark. But that was really interesting. I hadn't seen either of those species before, so that was one of the more unique parts of the episode for me. Another animal I hadn't seen before was the Columbus crab, which we see uses plastic as a sort of feeding, nesting, mating ground. Basically, it lives on the plastic, which we discard in the ocean. And then, as we've seen in various other documentaries and, you know, the news and social media, there's quite a lot of plastic in the ocean. So at least someone's getting the benefit from it. We see that it doesn't swim very well and it needs to use a turtle to find a mate. And we see it get into the turtle and then mates with another crab. And it's a nice little sequence. We also see turtles getting, you know, caught in the plastic, which isn't very nice. So you kind of get the positives and the negatives of the plastic being there. The flying fish were interesting. We see the flying fish using the kelp to lay their eggs on, and then they're attacked by blue sharks, but they're able to escape. And they make a big deal showing, oh, the flying fish managed to escape the sharks. However, the sharks were really just after their eggs, so it wasn't really much of a victory. But there's plenty of eggs left, so it's all good. Everyone, you know, the sharks get a meal, and the flying fish get away, and there's plenty of eggs left. So everyone really wins in that scenario. I think the stuff with the mobular rays was probably the highlight of the episode. Everything to do with the cinematography there was great. All the shots of them leaping at the water were great. The massive cluster of them at the end was brilliant. And the fact that we see orcas hunting them was really cool. Orcas are usually like antagonistic in these sequences, and we see them hunting a lot of stuff, and I wasn't expecting this sequence to be as frightening as it was. You usually expect that with whales or with seals. With rays, you wouldn't expect it to be quite as, you know, terrifying. But seeing them actually going after the rays was actually really good, and the fact that they're teaching their young was also interesting. You don't see that a lot in these programs. But the footage of them actually catching the rays was really good. So yeah, that was probably the highlight of the episode for me. The stuff with the deep sea kind of feels a bit obligatory, like it always features in these things. It was in Planet Earth, it was in Planet Earth 2, so it kind of makes sense that it's here. And the glass squid was probably the one that stood out most for me for this sequence, I think. The rest of it kind of just felt like normal deep sea stuff. The pearl octopus was really good. Seeing this female going towards this massive cluster of octopuses, it's meant to be the largest gathering in the world. And I kind of wonder, like, what was it like for the people that first found that? Like, someone just stumbled upon this massive group of octopus. Like, that must have been quite impressive. But they're all there just to care for their young in the 2 years it takes them to grow, because they would be too cold anywhere else, and this is next to like a vent or something. The seeing the octopus leave at the end is quite good, because they're larger than most octopus young would be, so it gives them more of a head start. But the females all die, and it's quite sad. I don't remember it being as sad when we saw the giant Pacific octopus in life pass away. It definitely felt quite emotional. So yeah, it was a really good sequence. Probably one of the high points of the episode for me. The last major bit of footage we get is the sea lions catching anchovies from the nets, which was interesting. In the trailer it looked like that was going to be a really harrowing bit, and it really wasn't. It wasn't anywhere near the level of the flamingos or anything like before, but it was still really good. Seeing them actually going into the nets to catch them was interesting. Attenborough says they've changed their behaviour. Animals do that when conditions change anyway, so that wasn't blown away like that. But it was really interesting, and it wasn't really sad. You see them, all of them getting caught in the net, and a lot of them do, but the fishermen let them away ultimately, and it kind of makes me think, like, realistically, if a sea lion's a massive animal, if I was a fisherman, I probably wouldn't want loads of sea lions in my net. I would just let them go. So I kind of feel like that might happen more often than not. But no, it was really good sequence, and yeah, a good way to end the episode. The sort of behind the scenes bit, again, like last week, wasn't really behind the scenes. It kind of showed you them filming the crabs and the sea lions, but it was more about the environmental impact, like the plastic, and then the fishing bit. The scene when the divers were actually saving the sea lion pup from the net was actually more heart-wrenching for me than the actual sea lion footage itself, which isn't, you know, not to knock that, but that's kind of more what I was expecting. It definitely highlighted the fact that not all sea lions do get away, and part of me kind of wonders if they just did that because they were there filming them. Maybe in a normal day they wouldn't. So that was an interesting thought. So yeah, this episode was another really good one. I think the high point was probably the orcas and the mobula rays. The sea lions were really good as well. I like the octopus. I like the horn shark. There was a lot to like here. I don't know if I prefer it to last week. It's definitely, there's not much between them, I don't think. But no, it was really good stuff, and I look forward to next episode. Hopefully see you there next time, and goodbye.